Welcome to Comics with Jose. My name is Jose. I love comics and I want to share them with you. Follow me on Twitter at artofjvelez or on Instagram at jvelez622. I share some doodles and drawings as well as a comic book that I'm working on free of charge. Like, follow, and subscribe if you enjoy this. We'll go over comic books that I have and enjoy. However, I do use the digital version for the purposes of this. We kind of review the artwork and the story of comic books that I think are pretty cool and I think people should read and get. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome back, everyone. This is Comics with Jose. I want to thank you so much for coming back to listen to me ramble about comic books. I just love this medium, and I know I'm not very fancy or have the latest tech or anything like that, but it's a simple channel for a simple guy, and if you like it, please follow and subscribe. Here we are going to look at today Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, number 317 from 1989. Now, I chose this because Todd McFarlane was in his stride. He was hitting at all cylinders between 315, 16, 17, all the way through to the, I would say, toward kind of the middle of Spawn. So he is such an inspiration to me. I just think that he is such an incredible artist. So we are going to take a look at this issue here. So first off the cover, the Thing is right here. Now the Thing looks a little different than you're used to, is because at that time, during the late 80s, early 90s, the Thing was even more deformed, even more rockier than normal. So that's why the Thing is right up here. So gonna kind of go down a little bit here. I just want to show something that, if you remember from the Batman Year 2 Part 4 that we did when we were reviewing in Detective Comics, that was McFarlane's first job or first time inking himself. So now here he has been inking himself for a few years. One of the neatest things that he does is he just throws lines. I mean, it is so very cool. Now he uses very thin. I don't think he uses brush. He uses pen. And just look at how thin he gets these lines here. And he just hatches the heck out of everything. Todd McFarlane is a crosshatcher through and through. He hatches and hatches and hatches, and when you think he hasn't hatched enough, he adds even more hatching. If you just take a look at the hand, hatching here, just everywhere. The man is a hatcher. So, love this here. He just puts his hatching every which way to go. So he puts Venom here. So this is the return of Venom. He had returned in 315. He had escaped, and now he's going after Peter. This is the culmination of that three-parter here. So we start out in Queens, and he knows Venom is back. This is Peter Parker. Real quick, let me go back to the top here. McFarlane is very notorious for putting a setting right away, whether it's in Spawn's buildings or anything. He wants to give you a setting, so he wants you to know where you're at right away. So that's a trope of his. So here comes Peter. Like I said, he adds ink where he thinks he needs it, but if he can get away with the hatching, he will hatch the heck out of it. I love it here, how he does hair, how he does a lot of stuff, but hatching just He doesn't overhatch too much, because he is a younger person, and on older people, he really goes nuts on the hatching. So, um, they're gonna go out, and another thing that he does is he does close-ups of eyes, nose, mouth, everything. McFarlane is a just loves close-ups. Love his eyes here. I do this in my work. I love in the eyes. I add a lot of black. I don't do the hatching. I just don't think anyone can really clone him. People that clone him, it just doesn't look the same. It just doesn't. McFarlane is McFarlane, and there's nobody else. Often imitated, never duplicated. So, when I do this hatching, I'm doing it as a way to. I'll always say McFarlane style or something like that. This isn't how I really draw, but once in a while, once in a blue moon, I will actually try and render something with a lot of hatching. I just throw it in there. Just makes no rhyme or reason. So. And here's Eddie Brock. And as most people know, Eddie Brock is Venom. So he has shown up at Peter Parker's house. And I love this view. It's from Peter looking at it. He's gonna go strangle him. As I mentioned, McFarlane doesn't really ink, meaning he's not an ink slinger. He is a hatcher, and here you can see he's doing it in the background, but hatching, 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 just amazing. Here, just the hatching. It's just really cool. Um, it's very hard to make this look organic when you're purposely trying to imitate him. So when I do it, I just try to throw my lines any which way I can, trying to look at something. So David McElhaney is as he's called. It I for the longest time I called him Michelini because ch is ch, but it's also k. So um, is the writer. Todd McFarlane does the art, and we'll just look at this beautiful rendering before I change the page. Just amazing. So, and more hatching. He it's so cool. It's just so cool. So he wants to go. Um, he wants to take Peter to talk, and Peter's trying to get him to take his hands off his Aunt May. During this time, Aunt May was drawn much older. She was drawn very very old throughout the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and well into the 2000s. It wasn't until writer J. Michael Straczynski came through that she got a makeover and um, just looks much younger. So, and now everybody kind of just makes her look a little bit more younger. But at this time, she looked like somebody, she was supposed to be someone in her 70s. Um, the eye thing is just really cool again. So, um, he does a lot with silhouettes. It's uh, it's another trope of his. Venom gets the full inking, so he does sling his inks on Venom. But here's a little cross hatching also there. So he wants to fight Peter one on one. So essentially, that's what this conversation is, and tells him that if he doesn't fight him one on one, then he's gonna be back, and that he's not responsible for what happens. Love this here. Silhouette in the middle. You can just see the clothes and hatching, hatching, hatching. Again, close up. Look at the close up in the eye. McFarlane is very also famous for these panels that go straight up and down. Most artists draw side to side, but a lot of McFarlane is up and down. So he's just incredible. Everything he does is just really really cool. Again, more silhouette, hatching. Um, so Peter wants help. He knows how tough Venom is, so he's going to try to get help. Look how big the Spider-Man symbol is. McFarlane's Spider-Man symbol. Um, most artists change kind of what the Spider-Man symbol is going to be, and this was McFarlane's. You can Google and you can see his symbol throughout the history. But look at this, hatching, 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 hatching. Dude is just so he's so cool. I have the artist edition also of this, so I have two copies. I have the original copy that I bought when this thing came out back in the day. I had read that thing is shredded into just it was well read. I used to just stick it in my backpack, take it to high school, read it, read it at home. I copied his style. I mean, I did everything. McFarlane was the man during that era. Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane were just running away with it. Everybody else just was playing catch up. So McFarlane is very famous for these just poses, and then the spaghetti web, as they were called, by the editor. Tom DeFalco, he was the editor in chief during that time. Just gonna look at it one more time, but he had these strands that you can see through here, and he claims on his interviews, you can find interviews of his on YouTube, that you can follow this all the way through these threads. So look at all this hatching, man. That this guy, like I always say, there's only one of him. So he's never. There's a lot of Jim Lee clones, and they do a good job at cloning Jim Lee, but only one guy. That is Todd McFarlane, and that's him. Other people can try, but they just really can't do it. If you remember in Batman, I told you also, look at the lines. He's just these speed lines. He does these all the time. So a guy is falling off this. Look how he exaggerates these buildings too. That's so very cool. So a guy's falling off a construction of a skyscraper, and here's Spidey to catch him. So, and again, the poses that he puts him in, very very cool. So. So he's going into the Fantastic Four to ask for help because the first time he had the alien symbiote on him, he had used the Fantastic Four to kind of get rid of it. So he's hoping to be able to do the same with the little Sonic. So he's asking the for help, and as you can see, here is the Thing, very very even rockier than normal. So he's not just rock, he's got boulders and spikes and everything. So some more hatching there, very cool. I know you probably get sick of me just saying very cool, but yeah, I can't help it. This dude is so on point. So he is returning home, and Eddie Brock is in there helping Aunt May. Um, During this era, as I mentioned before, the colorists kind of wanted, when they wanted you to look at something, they made everything so that your eyes would go to what he wants you to focus. He wants you to focus on these two. He doesn't really care. He just Peter is there, but he wants you to focus on this. But because Peter is ahead, the colorist kind of makes him purple so that your eyes go over here. So Eddie Brock knows that he went to the Fantastic Four, which is why he was visiting her. So he's reminding Peter that he this is supposed to be between them, and that he's supposed to be alone, and he can't get help. Um, Spider-Man has a spider sense, and Venom doesn't set it off because the symbiote used to be on him, on Peter Parker in the mid '80s. So it doesn't set it off. As if you remember, also this is another trope where he does a lot of the lining right there toward the bottom of the legs and feet, and Venom is able to change clothes. The You can see the symbiote. So I just love also how McFarlane chooses to compose an image and compose his panels. Um, Very, just so different than everybody else. Here's Mary Jane. During this time, they were married, and so he's letting him know that Venom is back. I love this. All black, and he just puts the little white on the silhouette. McFarlane is a master at creating these silhouettes, and just putting a little bit on the eyes, a little bit, but for the most part, the woman doesn't get a lot of rendering. And McFarlane does a lot of these. I mean, this guy just there's only one. There's only one Todd McFarlane, and no matter how many comic books I show you, or how many comic books you have, or how many comic books you read, he is one of a kind. A lot of people can copy a lot of other artists, and a lot of people can be very, very similar. But Todd McFarlane is the one and only. Again, the on the feet, the lines a little bit hatching here, but on her, not so much. And then she's probably wearing like a leotard or some kind, so or spandex now as it's called. So, um, love the color here. Just a little bit of gray, just to show that a little somber look here on the eyes. So there was no computer coloring back then, not really. So a lot of they only added a highlight here or there. I mean, it wasn't like now where you grab a comic book and it's computerized. So he's gonna ask help from um, Dr. Jefferson here, and he's gonna tell him about Venom and get some help. So very just he puts them in just he puts Spider-Man in just the most dynamic poses. So here we go. The next morning, they're he's getting ready. I think they're in Roosevelt Island between Manhattan and Queen. So here he comes, and Venom attacks right away, and off we go to have their battle. So it's pretty simple. We don't really need to see kind of what's going on, or you can see what's going on. I don't really have to explain it to you. Just want to look at the art. And one of the really cool things that a laptop does is really allows me to really get big. A lot of these other ones that have you go along with the comic book, they don't really zoom in, so you can really see. And I just think that all this rendering, and I mean, you just are able to see McFarlane's art blown up. I have, like I said, I have the artist edition of this, and I only own two artist edition. I own the one for Walter Simonson's Thor and Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man run. So fighting Venom, a lot of inking on Venom and just hatching on Spider-Man. And he looks like he draws almost every little nugget, but he's just so cool. So, um, they continue to fight, and McFarlane just so cool at his compositions. Like I said, look at that hit. Just what is this? Rock. I guess that's what it's. Whoa, rock. So look at that hit. Just so very cool. And I love this one. He's just kind of so giddy. He just this giddiness, and you can just tell. And you read the words, but I mean, McFarlane actually is able to let you know, like if these words weren't there, you can totally tell that he's giddy with anticipation. So he's trying to hide, and Venom finds him, and the symbiote doesn't like fire, so he of course goes into the water. Spider-Man's gonna try to escape and use the tracer on Venom, but Venom, of course, being alive and a symbiote, feels it and gets rid of it. So he's gonna try and escape, but he's not able to. And they're fighting. Just love this rendering. Just love the right here, this panel. Let me see if I can make this a little bit smaller here. Just so you can see just that composition of his. So oopsie. We have a little bit of technical difficulties. There we go. All right. So we're gonna go, he's gonna go through his idea, which is to force Venom to choose, or force the symbiote to choose him over Eddie Brock. So it looks like I still have it too. All right, here we go. So Eddie Brock does not believe that he is going to leave him, but Venom actually wants to return back to Peter and leaves Brock. Brock, of course, is upset, saying, "You can't do this to me." And here Peter says, "Oh no, the alien is obviously still in love with me." So, and it looks like he is trying to get back into Spider-Man, but he is not able to unbond with Eddie Brock. He is still bonded with Eddie, so he can't bond with Peter. So it causes the symbiote to kind of get unconscious. So um, they're gonna he's gonna call to get the Fantastic Four to get him picked up. So, and that's the end of the issue. Very, it just during this era, it just ended, and that was it, and that's the end of the story. And I think that's very, very practical. So, hope you liked it, and got to revisit a little bit with this Todd McFarlane Spider-Man issue. So again, Amazing Spider-Man volume number 1, number 317. Like, follow, and subscribe. Have a great day. Bye.